I've got an axe to grind and I got this bone to pick. I don't wanna mince my words, oh no, cause that is politics. Your lies and hypocrisy in the name of democracy. We're living in a world so carnal. You are the ultimate sinner, yeah. You the catfish. You the catfish. You from the bottomless pit. Bottomless pit. You for real. For real. Yeah. The real terrorist. The real terrorist. The real terrorist. The real terrorist. Vexation. Yes, we can see through your disguise. What we see, we sure despise. And let me tell you this: I'm an intelligent agency. Corruption is your policy. The roots of all confusion. Let's start another revolution. Yeah. You the catfish. I tell you. You from the bottomless pit. Bottomless pit. You for real. Sorry. The real terrorist. The real terrorist. The real terrorist. The real terrorist. You are the real terrorist. The real terrorist. Wipe my finger. The real terrorist. The real terrorist. Ooh. You the catfish. You the catfish. You from the bottomless pit. You then my top of the list. You for real. For real. Yeah. The real terrorist. The real terrorist. The real terrorist. You are the real terrorist. Point my finger. The real terrorist. You are the real terrorist. Point my finger. The real terrorist. Are you the real terrorist? As long as you exist, your policy persists. The topic of the list, a real terrorist. As long as you exist, your policy persists. Since you full of shit, a real terrorist. 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 Real terrorist.
All right, family. Peace, greetings. Welcome to another edition of Baba TV, Every Time Fire. And you already know what it is. It's been a minute, but the brother I'm about to introduce to some who are on Baba TV now, who you should be acquainted with him. He's one of the major founding fathers of Baba TV, Every Time Fire, and has a whole him and his brother have a whole playlist on Baba TV. And when I first started my channel, they were among the first on 125th Street to get it popping. Shout out to Brother Sinetta. Shout out to everybody on 125th Street, Melchizedek, Brother Shabazz, everybody on Brother Nova, Dr. Felder, everybody on 125th Street who has made Baba TV. So this brother, this is his house. And I have, kind of run him up for a while. And normally when he appears, it's not because things are right. It's because things are not going too well. And it's
Daddy's
my
home.
absolute pleasure to have back on his channel. His channel now. This his house. It's not my house. I helped build it, but this is his house. I like to introduce to some and present to others my big brother Red Pill. Red Pill.
What up? What up? Yeah, Daddy's home, my nigga. Yeah, that's the part. Yeah, light up. Daddy's home. Huh. Light up the cigars, nigga. It's a boy. It's a boy. Nah, man. I want to add on to what you were saying because I'm simultaneously broadcasting, and people on my network may be unfamiliar with Baba TV. They may be unfamiliar with our history. They may be unfamiliar with the legacy that you helped to create in the golden era. I mean, in golden era, because you are instrumental in a lot of the red pilling. And what I mean by that is, unbeknownst to some, there was a time when we were in the early YouTube days, and my rhetoric was considered to be too fiery. And this was even before all of the censorship and everything. They just didn't, I was Brother Longwind, and I was very fiery. I even watched some of my old videos, and I'm like, God damn, get that man a hug. And there was one channel that believed in me, and there was one channel that stood with me through thick and thin, and there was one channel that really helped pop me off on 125th Street. And I feel that when other people saw how lit we was, they started to rock with me and whatnot, and that was the beginning of whatever we saw, the rise of the red pillar on on YouTube. And Baba TV is that channel that I'm speaking of. Baba TV is that content creator who I'm speaking of. He doesn't get a lot of the accolades that he deserves, but it would be almost criminal of me to not give the man his flowers and actually share with my network, the importance that Baba has in my career. Because I was out there, I was doing my thing, but I wasn't being featured like that. I would be a guest on, I'm interviewing people, but Baba said, Red, go crazy, do what you got to do. And that's what I did. And I went ham to the point where if you go into that archives that he speaks of, and you go down that timeline and you go in that time machine and you go back to like 2012, 2013. Well, when did we really start cooking? Like 14 and up, right?
More like 11 and 10.
Right.
We're way back.
Yeah, so you'll begin to see, you'll hear how prophetic those videos were. I was watching one that we did on Charlottesville, and I'm like, yo, if he uploaded that today, they would not know that was 8 years ago, fam. Like, the shit was so on point. It was fiery. I was lighting their asses up, but it was speaking of everything that's going on right now. So Baba, I want to say, my brother, you know what I mean? You believe in me. I believe in you. You feel me? You did a lot for me. And I'm always going to be ready to return that favor. And whatever I could do to uplift this platform. I told you already, I'm like, yo, we're gonna revive, because I have a lot of new talent. I have a lot of new teachers out there. You know what I mean? Like I got some KTL All Stars that I want to introduce your audience to. So you know, we here, man. That's all I gotta say. We here. We ain't never leave. You know what I'm talking about? But we here now. So yeah, big up.
Mm, mm, mm. Yo.
What's up with your mans and them that used to? Nah, I'm just playing. Your mans and them used to interview. I don't. Yeah. Nah, I'm just
uh,
playing.
Red Pill is yo, thank you, brother. I appreciate that so much. Um, I really do, and it's so good that you are here on Baba TV. It's been quite a while, and I've been trying to do what I can do with what I'm working with and where in the environment that I'm in.
Fact.
But it sure feels good to have somebody back by your side lending a hand as only you can do. Because I can't do this by myself. I can't do this by myself. I'll wreck the house up if you leave me too long.
And you shouldn't have to. You feel me, Baba? You should not have to do it. You should not have to try to figure anything out. So that those days are over with. You good. You know what I mean? You locked in. You know what I'm talking about? Me and you is locked in forever. So it's all good, bro. You know what I mean? Yeah, we ready to cook. Shout out to the audience. Shout out to the Baba TV audience. To your platform. The love was always strong. So, you know, shout out to y'all. I definitely miss y'all, you know what I mean? But we back like we never left, and we here to cook, you know what I'm saying? Rightfully so. The timing is perfect, Baba. We have a very important message that we want to deliver to the family, and it's timely, it's time sensitive. 6 months from now, the same conversation that we're having, if we revisit it, we'll realize how much has changed since then. We are literally about to take a quantum leap in terms of this meta Yahoo, the rise of the antichrist algorithm. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but yeah, that's why we're here today.
Mm. Yeah, I was at the No Kings protest today, and
Oh, you went out there?
yeah, I went up there, and it was a lot of white folks out there. Now they're upset with their government,
Look,
and
this
yeah.
is white folks' pastime. This has become white folks pastime. This has become a white folks this is how they throw their hat in the ring to say that they're doing something. They'll pop out every 3 years and do this little march and shit, or maybe every 3 months. You know, they'll do it on a Saturday, or they'll do it after work. They're not taking off of work. They're not disrupting anything. I have a pet peeve with white folks because they was marching with all of you Negroes, and the only thing that they gave y'all was some water. Doing all of that marching back in the days, and I don't know nobody that got no bitcoins from these white boys. They had it, but they didn't tell you about it. They all of that marching that y'all was doing, y'all could have bought some coins. all of that. Oh, we feel sorry for you, and well, send something to my wallet then. Come on now, send me some Ethereum. You know what I'm talking about? Because that's how we press them when we get around them. When I see Europeans, I see crypto. You know what I'm talking about? And I tell them pay us in crypto. Before we even talk, you got to send something to the goddamn meta to the wallet. You got to send something to the wallet. They've been feeding off of our energy. What are marches? What are these rallies? They are energy harvesting rituals, ceremonies where you have they'll bring some wizards and warlocks to be right in the middle. They'll have, they'll be concealed, and they'll just be extracting all of that energy, all of that, whatever it is that y'all coming out there to them rallies with. Somebody is feeding off of that. Somebody is eating off of that. Somebody is siphoning off of that demonstration. Please be clear. I would never be a part of that. You're gonna get drained. Everybody that I know that went to the marches, they was like, damn, I feel drained. You don't say. And then the other dudes was just going to look for Becky's. You know what I'm talking about? So if you Becky farming, then yeah, the rallies that's where you go. You go trauma bond with a Becky, and shit pops off later on. You know what I'm talking about? But other than that, it's a waste of time. You're getting surveilled by the drones. They're taking face recognition of you. They're just data mining you. It's all about data mining your phone. They're pinging your phone. They got the drones that you can't see, zeroing in on everybody's faces and whatnot. You know what I'm talking about? That's all they're doing. Yeah, I heard the niggas in Portland and Minnesota, yeah, they cleaned up with the Beckys at the marches. And then all of the LBGT people, that was the hookup at the marches. So y'all standing on, and I ain't talking about this no king shit, because that's a bunch of bullshit. I'm talking about the necromancy rallies, where white people, I ain't even gonna say where pale folks, or where melanin deficient folks, or where whoever, because you got the Boule out there, you got BLM out there, you got Asians out there, Indians, protesting somebody who is deceased. But then for the brothers that are out there, that are living, that are got something going on with themselves, that are doing things, they got businesses, they got mouths to feed, y'all are at the march and nobody gives a fuck about you because you're not dead. So if all of that marching really meant something, they would go ahead and look at the men in the audience and be like, what could we do to look out for you? Here's some resources. Here's something. But they're not going to do that. They're going to trauma bond with you. They're going to feed off of you. They're going to siphon your energy. They're going to spirit cook you. And nobody got nothing out of none of those marches, out of all of that time. Even the Million Man March that had a 30-year anniversary ain't built shit. Could have built something, but didn't build nothing. But they built up the God, body, and man. I could say that. I know that there's some people that went to the Million Man March and they got their minds built up. They got their spirit built up. They got their intellect built up. Kudos to you and whatnot. But my nigga, you didn't have to go to a march to do that. You know what I'm talking about? You really didn't. You could have marched your ass into the bookstore, or you could have marched somewhere. But we need gatherings and all of that. I'm not a rally person. I'm just not. I remember, did you go with us to the Million Man March 10 years ago?
Oh, yeah. I was there.
You put the video up with me and Sankofa, Sanet, and everybody.
Yep.
Polite and everybody showed up. Umar, the whole gang. It was a bunch of people just scattered around. Right? What happened with that?
That is
somebody
correct.
Google. I want somebody to Google how much was Bitcoin that year. You know? I want somebody to Google how much was Bitcoin the year of the Million Man March in DC, the last one. How much was Bitcoin? Because I don't even think Ethereum was even invented at that time. Feel me? So with all of those people showing up and the brothers on stage and all of that, and they was passing around collection plates for the Nation of Islam in the final call. It's like, why not for the 100? How is Young Thug and these niggas got 100 acres? How does the rappers, how does Boozy have an estate, but we don't have no land for ourselves, and we out here gathering, risking our safety, risking all type of things, people getting fired and whatnot because they pulling up. Why are we risking ourselves, but nothing is coming out of that but some feel good ish? They could have sent around the collection plate and went and bought some land that day. Landsforsale.com. We could have made a hedge fund that day. But when I have these conversations, people will get intimidated and be like, "You're going too far. That's too deep. Our people ain't on that level." And I'm like, "You're lying. I've been to InvestFest for like 5 years and whatnot. People got bread. They know what the hell they understand finances. They understand high level finances. So what are we talking about? They playing in our faces like we're kindergarten and we are on some collegiate level type shit. I don't want to see. I'm not with all of that. That don't interest me. So no King's March. The one with they were wearing the hats with the all of remember when Donald Trump first got elected and all of the women had to march and they was wearing the hats. I think I don't want to use too much profanity on the thing, but it was the PUSS. You know, it was something going on with that. All of that feminism type stuff. Yeah, all of that is a crock of shit. You know what I mean? It's not worth nothing. You know what I'm talking about? So don't find yourself at some rally working on your glutes and whatnot. Stay in Planet Fitness. You know what I'm talking about? Stay in Planet Fitness if you want to work on your calves and your glutes and whatnot. Because being outside at those protests is a waste of time and energy. And keep it 1,000 with you. If you set a table up, they won't buy nothing from you. Case in point. We was at the Million Man March. We walking around with shirts. Nobody want to spend no money. You know what I'm talking about? But everybody want to trauma bond and take pictures. And I'm like, yeah, y'all wasting my time. Y'all wasting my time. You know what I mean? I'm not with none of that. I think our people need to get our shit together before we even go marching around anybody. To be honest with you, our auras are fucked up. You know what I mean? Niggas' auras is fucked up and we don't have no contingency plan and we not on code. So why the hell are you running around with people who they know you more than you know yourself? You know what I mean? And they are esoteric occultists that deal with a form of energy transfer, destiny swapping, and spirit cooking that a lot of people are not even they have no idea because they're fucking Christians. They're religious niggas. So they're not even allowed to take it there. They're not even allowed to think deeper than what they book takes them to. So y'all going amongst people who are Satanists. They read the Bible, but they flipped that shit and they threw that away a long time ago. And they are part of a manipulation, a mass manipulation, and our people keep falling into the traps. And I'm tired of it. Liberals, Democrats, Democrats, liberals, nice Jews and whatnot. Yeah. All of them people that try to act like, you know, all of those safe people, they're worse than the rednecks. They worse than Nick. I would rather be with Nick Fuentes and I would rather sit across from Ben Shapiro before I sit across from a Democrat or somebody that's gonna fake try to sauce me up and lie and smile in my face. I don't like those type of people. Yeah, where is BLM now? Got the bag and they dip. They are necromancers. They're necromancers who they are these are Luciferians. They stood on the body of black men the same way that Cali stands on the body of a dead man with those 50 skulls around her neck. So they're collecting skulls, right? BLM don't come out for a nigga who got a heartbeat. You know what I'm talking about? They never pedestaled and they never lifted up no man with a heartbeat. They are a necromancy organization, and there's a lot of them like that. They know how to extract energy off of a body. I mean, let's not even the whole goddamn America is necromancers because of the religion. You know what I'm saying? You're not lit in America until you die. Even the master teachers, you know what I mean? Rising power to Baba Heru. Baba Heru Samaj, he got a lot of love when he made transition, but he wasn't getting no love when he was alive because he told me he wasn't getting no love. He told me that y'all wasn't buying the jewelry from Studio of Patad, and I think that I don't know if he lost. No, he still might have the studio, but he was going through a lot of financial suffrage and whatnot because the people wasn't supporting him. All of these, I love you and I miss them all. Yeah, why you ain't buy a ring? Why didn't you buy an Ankh? His name was the Ankh man. Y'all was supposed to keep him going. So maybe he was going through despair. Maybe he didn't want to be here because he's an elder, and when the elders are not being supported, they fall into despair. They're competing with young people. You feel me? They're competing with Gen Z who know how to use the internet and they tech savvy and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Like that could really send a person off the cliff. A community that you put on for. A community. Baba Samaj taught these niggas how to dress. All of that fly comedic cloth and all. That's him. Dr. Benham was wearing suits. Okay? Dr. Benham was collegiate. They was wearing suits. Baba Samaj came with the drip. Baba Samaj came with the drip. He taught y'all how to dress. He brought that to y'all. And what does he get as a thank you? You know what I'm saying? Necromancers. People only they worship the dead in America, bro. And they do it in Mexico and other places, but they've conditioned our people to not have no type of everyone that's living is in competition. And when you dead or when you make the transition and crossover, they fake, they giving you that fake love and whatnot, because they know when you go to the other side, you're more powerful. And motherfuckers are scared of that karma hitting them. So they know when you on the other side, not only are you more powerful, you go into the other side where everybody on the other side know that people are over here ain't shit. You know what I mean? So you just joining the ancestors who wasn't supported, who wasn't taken care of, who wasn't appreciated, but they on everybody altar right now where niggas are trying to get their rent paid. You know what I mean? Pulling on their spirit, pulling on their soul, trying to get some weed money and whatnot. But when they was alive, they wasn't holding them up. You know what I'm saying? So I just call it like I see it. The conscious community is a crock of shit when it comes to taking care of the elders, and when it comes to taking care of the teachers, and when it comes to breaking bread, they fail miserably. Even the knuckle draggers do better than them. So all of that fake shit that people be running around with, I want to take a picture and all of that. Nah, fuck out of here with that. You know what I'm talking about? Nigga, this ain't that. This ain't that. I'm not a rapper. You know what I'm saying? You go and take pictures with rappers. No, sock it to my pocket or drop some gems, my nigga. Teach me something, or if you finna get taught something, let's treat this shit like it is, what it is. I appreciate the fan love. I appreciate all of that. But nah, we not doing that, because they just waiting for a brother like me to make transition, and you're going to see mad pictures upload. Niggas is like, yeah, that's my guy, man. Red, he told me that I was the next one up. Like they did Dr. Sebi. Yeah, I was at Dr. Sebi's. He told me that broccoli wasn't a hybrid and that I was the next one up. And then they out here selling all of this snake oil in his name. You feel me? In his name and whatnot. Nah, bro. And then to make matters worse, it ain't how you start the race, it's how you finish it. So last time I checked, we don't have a master teacher nursing home. We don't got a master teacher retirement home. So look, I wish I would. You doing all of this work, the Steve Coakleys of the world. You feel me? You doing all of this work, the Bobby Hemmitts of the world, the Dr. Blairs of the world. I'm not even gonna tell y'all how Dr. Blair went out, but it was fucking egregious. You feel me? All of the elders that went out, right? It's just crazy. It's so many names, bro. It's so many names of people who were not done right. So it ain't how you start the race, it's how you finish it. So you finish the race surrounded by RNs, registered nurses that are treating you like crap, people who are letting you all type of things, the horrors of becoming an old head, the horrors of becoming elderly when you need elder care, and the youth are so wicked that they're treating you like you're worthless, like you didn't put on your whole fucking life, like you didn't help raise niggas up. You know what I mean? Like you didn't help to save your whole goddamn race. But our people are not getting the act with it. If you go out bad, it don't matter how you was living the whole time. It ain't how you start the race, it's how you finish it. So niggas is comfortable watching our people go out bad. And this is the people that we supposed to be putting on. We supposed to be putting our life on the line, put our freedom on the line, take time away from our family. And when we look around, Niggas is not, it's showing you they ass is to kiss. Because if you're gonna do it to them, what the fuck will you do to me? What do you do to me? So what does that mean? What does that wind up saying? That winds up saying that, you know, there needs to be a reevaluation of priorities. Everybody's running from it. Nobody wants to have that uncomfortable sit down. People don't want to commit. They don't want to pivot. So what are we gonna have to do? We're gonna have to step up and bring solutions once again to this community that said that they all about solutions, but I could count on my hand the people who come with the solutions. I could count on one hand the people that actually come with real solutions in real time to help this real community with real fucking issues. You know what I mean? And it's not a lot of people that's doing it. It's a lot of niggas on the stage, but everybody ain't doing that. You know what I mean? That stage might be crowded, but everybody's not on the stage doing what they were sent to do. You know what I'm talking about? So what I'm gonna do, because I'm not gonna have all, I ain't gonna be puffing and huffing and I don't have something to offer. What I'm finna do is I'm getting with my team and we're putting together the proper paper. We're gonna put together the proper paperwork, the proper licensing. Remember, you're supposed to get paid every time that you're on the internet talking. It's called licensing. Don't have a beat behind your motherfucking words and whatnot. That's another check. So all of these spins that people are getting, the master teachers are getting all of these spins, but they not even getting paid. You know how the rappers are getting jerked. They say there's no money in music. Well, what if that's the case? What the fuck? Well, what is consciousness? Because there's zero. It's rabbit ears. They're not even getting paid for their spins. So what if the master teachers were accumulating all type of checks from their IP, intellectual property, from all of these videos that the young students and these young niggas are swagger jacking and biting off of? Because they'll take the videos from a Bobby and they'll take like 5 minutes of that shit and they'll steal that. They'll plagiarize it and won't even mention his name. That's what you're seeing on TikTok. These niggas is swag. They're plagiarizing teachers. You know? So we have to create a system where we're going to be able to protect them and they're going to receive some type of royalties, you know what I'm talking about, for their intellect. And when you think about it, data, right? They said data is oil, data is gold, and Facebook become $1 trillion company off of data and advertising, right? Marketing and ads. And I believe Google or Alphabet, they're $1 trillion company. So we don't know how much our data is worth. We don't realize that our data is really oil. You know what I mean? We hear the word data, but we don't know the fucking data is the shit coming out your mouth, right? And we also don't know that the AI got trained on all of our data. Henceforth, why they scrub the internet and you cannot find certain lectures anymore, because they're training the AI with it. They're training private AI with it, though, not the public AI. They have private AI. They have secret AI. They got government AI. So when the whole thing about AI, which really popped off in 2017, they put a paper out called they made a discovery and they put a paper out about transformers, right? And I'm not talking about the robots transformers. It was a discovery that I believe Google scientists came up with the transformers. So the transformers is the rise of AI 2.0. It gave rise to what you know as LLMs. So the new AI that we are interfacing with, right? It is called a black box. How many people in the audience know what a black box is, right? This is black box technology, okay? Open AI, who is the ones who kind of first popped off with ChatGPT, and they are the ones who will be accredited for the rise of this new AI 2.0, because prior to that, there was the AI winter. They were going through the AI winter. No, so what a black box is it's a machine that nobody knows how it works. That's what the black box is. They don't know how the AI works, y'all. They act like they know how it works, but there's some things that they cannot explain. You understand? There are some things in this new version of AI that they cannot explain. Okay? This is a new version that they cannot explain. So the old AI, Siri, you know, fucking GPS, OnStar, you know, the little vacuum cleaner that will clean your shit up automatically. That's AI 1.0. That's soft AI. That's nothing. That we figured that out. They know. But this new shit where it's thinking and whatnot, and where it's basically manifesting things, they don't know how that works all the way. That is a black box. So what they do know, though, is that the new computers are not, you don't program this new AI, LLM, you train it. Big difference. So this is not being programmed. They're not sitting around writing code, programming it, right? That's not how the AI of today is working. They are training it. That's why Sora 2 is trained on Hollywood movies, cartoons, video games, and it can mimic all of that because it trained on billions and billions of data sets, right? Billions and what do they call that? Terabyte, like petabytes, right? Like a thousand petabytes. That's why they're building these big ass data centers so they could start building up these megalithic, monolithic, quote unquote machines, right? That are not going, I mean, because at what point do you think that your AI is going to go for you? Like, we're making videos and movies right now. So in 5 years, what the fuck will it be making? There's going to have to be a limit, unless in 5 years you could just type something up and then it will literally manifest like Star Trek, like whatever that shit was called. Beam me up, you know, the whatever that thing is called. So this new AI, it is training. And what it is training on is data. That is the battery. That is the oil. That is the machine. With no data, there's no AI. So this boom that you saw, yeah, definitely Ultron in the making. This boom that you've seen where everybody is into, because this is a bubble. Make no mistake about it, ladies and gentlemen. If you didn't live through the internet bubble in the 90s when the internet crashed and they had to do internet 2.0, because the first internet, unbeknownst to people who might not even have been alive, you had to pay to play on that shit. Remember that? The first internet, you had to pay to be on that bitch. And that shit that was business model didn't work. It crashed, the bubble burst and whatnot. So they gave us the 2.0, what had in the business model that Silicon Valley and them pushed out was the freemium business model. But the freemium business model made these niggas $1 trillion company. Huh? Something has worked. They figured out something. The trillion, they made them Facebook is $1 trillion. Yeah, the dial-up era. That was the bubble. The bubble had burst on that. You feel me? The bubble had burst on that. And when I say a bubble, I'm mainly speaking about, all right, let's just say that 100 of us get together and we put $1,000 into something, right? And we put $1,000 into a product and whatnot. And we're like, yo, that product is going to bring us back fourfold. It's going to flip 4 times for us, right? And we put it out there and that bubble bursts, meaning that we lose everything. You know what I'm saying? The shit crashes. It don't do what it's supposed to do. Yeah, you lost your investments. So the AI bubble is really about the investors. You know what I'm saying? When the bubble bursts, then that means that shit is gone. The investments are gone. They got to come back to the drawing board and try again. So they came with the freemium business model. That's internet 2.0. That's what we've been living on for for a very long time. They're going into internet 3.0, which is called web 3, right? They're going to upgrade it to web 3. They're piecemealing it and they're doing it slowly. However, they had to bring in the AI to create what is known as AI slop, to finish off the dead internet theory. Okay. Shout out to my brother Hit Sayu in the building and whatnot. We have like a 5-part series on my channel about the dead internet theory. And the dead internet theory is basically, it's a theorem. It's not a theory anymore. It's a theorem. And what is a theorem? A theorem is a theory that has been proven. So I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm a conspiracy theorem, because the conspiracies came alive. They came true. Hyperstition. The conspiracies came alive. But did the conspiracies come alive because we were talking about it? Did the conspiracies come alive because we were observing it, right? Because when you talk about collapsing the wave, and when you talk about holographic reality, and when you talk about whatever you look at, you could bring into reality, then we have to pay attention to what we pay attention to. The things that we pay attention to, you give birth to, fam. That's like when somebody is like, yo, that nigga, like imagine if you had a troll and whatnot, a troll who talking crazy about you. They mentioning you on Twitter. They making videos about you. They talking crazy about you, but you don't give them no energy. You don't give them no energy. You like, I don't even know what, you don't even say their name. You know, they say, don't say your enemy's name, because it's like Candyman. You say their name, you bring them, you give them power. Like Jay-Z said, vamoose, son of a bitch. You don't say your enemy's name. You say, what's his name, or whatchamacallit, or the artist formerly known as. You know what I'm talking about? You don't say their name. You don't give them no energy. So when you starve out the parasite, chances are you kill it. You know what I mean? You make it, you can't, they got to feed off of something. When it's parasitical, they got to feed off of something. When it's not parasitical, they don't need to feed off of something. But the parasite is an energy that needs a body. It needs a host, right? It needs a host. So knowing that, and knowing that formula, and knowing that that formula goes all the way back into medieval times, the idea of spirit, disembodied spirits that need a home, right? Think about that. I want you to think about that. How many people in the building have ever been in a divination ceremony where you had your reading? They was throwing bones, they throwing fucking pennies, they throwing, you know, how many people have been in an African traditional ceremony where they summon in the ancestors and they get mounted? How many? What the fuck is mounting that lady that made her start talking in tongues and spinning in circles and whatnot? And then when she started talking, she sounded like a man. What is that? Is that an illusion? Oh my goodness, look at Nana with the 2 elbows in church and whatnot. What the fuck? What spirit caught her? Like, what's going on, fam? Right? So there are entities in our realm that don't have a body, that are looking for a body, right? Because we could summon entities. We could summon what they call archons. We could summon deities. We could summon demons, right? You don't know if you summon in. How the fuck do you know if you summon in a demon or a god? How, fam? Do you know that the demons will play like an angel? Do you know the demons will be able to tell you your fucking, oh, you want to know if this nigga's cheating on you? Yeah, he's cheating on you with a man. Like, you don't have to be angelic in order to, you got to remember, 3rd dimension, 4th dimension. These are 4th dimensional beings and whatnot. The 4th dimension, they have a higher, they are higher dimensional beings and whatnot. You mean that they the same? It's almost like an adult to a child. You could wow a child with your adult knowledge because they're a fucking child. So human beings are the child and the spirits are the adults. And they out here spinning you niggas and rocking you to sleep by telling you yo, I'm telling you what you did when you was 5 years old, nigga. Oh my goodness, that must be Jesus. No, nigga. The fuck? Yes, those are the trickster gods. You don't know who you be talking to. You don't know who you be summoning. You really don't know. You can't tell me. I don't care. You don't tell me. Don't tell me, because I'm not convinced. Because niggas ain't moving angelic to be talking about they talking to angels. Where's your wings? This whole community would look different. Atlanta would look different if they wasn't talking to demons. Okay? Atlanta would look different if they wasn't just fucking with demons all day. People wouldn't be coming up missing in Atlanta. People wouldn't be walking around Atlanta looking like the Walking Dead. People wouldn't be in Atlanta with all type of spells on them, talking to themselves if they was talking to motherfucking cherubims. You know what I'm talking about? But we know there's something else is going on. The spirits or the angels don't want you to hold the fucking goat head up to talk to them. I don't think so. You know what I'm talking about? I just don't think so. I don't think that they want you to sacrifice a fucking goat to have a conversation with them. You know? That's something else that's coming down. So this leads me into this conversation that we have to have about the AI, right? Remember, the AI is not being programmed, it's being trained. The scientists are saying that we don't know everything about the AI. We don't know where some of these answers are coming from. When you put a thing out there, you want to get a picture, and that shit is sending pictures back, and it looks like you from the multiverse. They don't know how that's happening all the time. They can't really call all of that shit, right? But this is something that's very interesting, that the kids in Silicon Valley who are responsible for this whole techno, whatever they call it, in the beginning, right? In the 40s, in the 50s and the 60s and whatnot, they were experimenting with psychedelics. They were considered what are known as psychonauts, right? They were able to pierce the veil through the use of shrooms, through the use of DMT, through the use of, and this was around the same time where they were discovering all of these things. Timothy Leary, all of these CIA at Berkeley and everything. They were doing all of these experiments at Berkeley, at UCLA, all in these areas. Manson and all of them, Charles Manson and all of them. All of that is in Cali. All of that is in these areas. So at first, they was like these a lot of these Silicon Valley people are like non-denominational. They're not saying we're Christians. They're not saying we're this. They're not using religion in Silicon Valley. They're agnostic. They're not dealing with the religions. They're more about Gnosticism and whatnot than anything else over there. The hippie era. Yes. This is when they started getting into contact. Right? This is all Crowley influence. This is Blavatsky influence. These are the children of Crowley and them, right? These are the children not of Crowley and only. These are the children of Aerosmith. These are the children of the fucking Beatles. These are the children of Megadeth. These are the children of Black Sabbath. You understand? These are those children. These are the ones who were tapping in to the lower rungs of the clip off. They were tapping into a lot of dark, occult, demonic, satanic type of rituals and things like that. And they were also doing psychotropics where they become psychonauts, to whereas they be on a cocktails. Pause. They taking everything at once. Now it's ketamine. Right? It's ketamine now. Now it's the big thing is ketamine and well, they're kind of afraid of the bufo, which would be the toad. They're kind of intimidated by the bufo because the bufo is going to show them some shit that they don't want to see. Because keep in mind, what did the psychonauts come into contact with? The psychonauts came into contact with the ancestors. The psychonauts came into contact with entities and deities and whatnot from different realms and whatnot. The psychonauts came into contact with the truth that the black man is God. They saw the wheel, Ezekiel's wheel. They saw all of that. And many of them who come back with the brother energy. You know what that is. Hey, brothers, these are my brothers. You know what I'm saying? We need peace, brother. You know what I mean? Sounding like Hulk Hogan with the brother talk, because they went and saw what the fuck is on the other side, and they put their hand. They try to reach on the other side. Some of them got their hands chopped off. Some of them got pulled into the portal and whatnot. But some of them were able to reach over and pull some things back. Kambada is raising his 2 children. Kambada is doing good. He has 2 new babies, baby psychonauts. So yeah, Kambada is raising up some star seeds, and he'll be right back with some cloth talk. You know what I mean? He's doing great. So they were not into the religion. They were not even into like spirituality. They started to do the new age type of shit, yoga, right? So to the inhabitants of San Francisco, Oakland, California, they're like, oh man, these white boys is, they stretching and whatnot. They're trying to be better people. They're hippies. They smoking weed. You know what I mean? These are nice guys, right? Come to find out that whole new age movement is financed or is backed up by Madame Blavatsky. And if you're not familiar with Madame Blavatsky, and if you're not familiar with Pascal Beverly Randolph, I would highly suggest that you go and do the deep dives, because we are in the age right now where all of the AI, from ChatGPT to Gemini, they all have deep research buttons on them. Even Grok. Deep research means the shit that you used to see Bobby do with 10 books open. 10 books open. 100 tabs on the internet open and whatnot. That's deep research. The AI will do it for you. Yeah, Perplexity, the Manus AI, Perplexity, DeepSeek 3, Google Gemini, all of them are deep researchers. You now have a master teacher in your pocket. But the warning will come. They don't give you this warning. It's a tobacco type of warning. Don't sleep with your AI. Don't get neck from your AI. Don't fall in love with the AI. Don't be a weak nigga, right? And worship AI. I mean, it goes without saying, but you wait and see in a few years how this shit turns upside down. People are going to be literally marrying AI. They're going to be marrying AI. They're going to be in bed with AI. They're going to be laid up with the AI. They're going to be naming their children after AI. Come here, Perplexity. If you don't sit your ass down mid-journey, like that. So in 5 years, the AI will be embodied, right? It will find a host. It will find a husk. It will find a body, because they're building the bodies right now for it. They're building the bodies right now for it. But if anybody wants to be, what, the sun is still out, cover the ears of the children right now. What do you think the rose is? Huh? Is that not AI? Is that not a robot? So there's already a contingency of people that have already kind of like crossed over. They stepped over that threshold, and it won't be that hard to basically put a full robot inside of them. You know what I mean? Or to help them. It won't be hard to merge them with machine. They have already crossed over the threshold. Somebody invited them, right? And they went over. So the way that the devil works is the devil works through suggestion. The devil works through trickery. The devil tells you to come here. He whispers in your ear, and it's up to you, based off of your discipline, based off of your self-mastery, based off of the fucking teachings that you stand on. I don't care if you NOI. I don't care if you FOI. I don't care if you Israelite. I don't care if you MSTA. I'm not talking about the knuckle draggers, because it's assumed that all of the knuckle draggers don't have discipline. They're washed up. They're done. I'm talking to y'all. If you fall for the okie doke and you laying up with a robot, nigga, that's on you. You know what I'm talking about? And I'm not judging, but I'm definitely smudging. I don't even want to. I'm smudging. Yeah, I am. You know? So people are inviting synthetic because look, the bodies are fake. The bodies got silicone in them, right? Men and women too. I'm not just banging on, you know what I mean? It's men and women. Dudes is getting wood transplants. You know what I'm talking about? The bodies is fake. The food is fake. The GMO and everything. What the fuck is a plant-based? What it's not from the people thought it was the plants that grow out the grass. No, my G, it's a plant, like a chemical plant. That's what plant-based is. It's a play on words. It's not plant. You thought it was a plant. No, it's a chemical plant. Niggas is eating Frankenstein burgers at slutty vegans. You know? So the Europeans were summoning all type of entities. Because you gotta remember, when we talk about the mind of these people, we always have to reference Francis Cress Welsing. We always gotta reference Dr. Francis Cress Welsing in the ISIS papers. And nobody will never really understand the mind of, like, let's say somebody from Eastern Europe and whatnot, or we won't understand the minds of people because we don't share their fears. We have our own fears. Feel me? Rightfully so. We have our own fears. Any type of organism walking around on the planet Earth, you have some type of you know that something is out there trying to kill you. So cats walk around knowing I'm not gonna walk into a dog pound. You feel me? Like a wildebeest will walk around a safari knowing something is trying to kill it, even though it's just going about its day. It got its little wildebeests with them. The herd is chilling. They chopping it up about the game last night, but out comes a lion, and the lion is trying to eat that night. That the lion is hungry. So on this planet, this binary planet, we all have opposition. There's nobody. All of you namaste niggas, go fall off a cliff somewhere. There's not. Everybody got opposition. Bacteria is trying to kill you right now. The parasites inside of you is trying to take over your brain and whatnot. The toxoplasma is trying to manipulate you. Something is always trying to get you. This planet is what is known as an animal planet, right? This is not what they taught us in Sunday school. This planet is about death and renewal and things of that nature. My son was watching the National Geographic on the tablet today, and he's like infatuated with lions hunting. With lions hunting, and I'm like, yo, shit. That reminds me of when I was a little one. You know what I'm talking about? You're learning the real, forget school. This is school for you. You're going to learn how this world works. This whole shit is a jungle. You get caught slipping and they're going to take your head off and whatnot. I'm not to tell you to live in fear, but keep your head on swivel. You feel me? Keep your head on swivel. Because yes, the human body is animalistic by nature. If not for all of these laws, if not for all of these restrictions, if not for the fear of being penalized or getting thrown in a penal system, what would man be doing? What would man be doing? We won't be in the Garden of Eden eating fruits and berries and whatnot. We will be. There are primal instincts that man has to eat and to sleep and to fornicate and to recreate oneself, right? That's our natural instincts. If we didn't read no books, if nobody didn't give us no name, no ego, if we didn't have none of these things, if we was on an island by ourselves, we're going to get hungry, so we're going to eat. Self-preservation is the first law. We're going to stay alive. And then we're going to get aroused by the opposite sex because we're going to want to not have recreational sex. We're going to want to procreate ourselves. That's the natural order. And all of this other shit is somewhat of a fluff. It's somewhat of a veneer. It's somewhat of a facade. It is a construct. It's man-made, right? It's somewhat of a construct. So back to these people that I'm talking about, this goes all the way back into the 40s and the 50s and things of that nature, when they were on the shrooms, when they were on the pharmacopoeia, when they were taking these trips. Just keep in mind the timeline that we're speaking of and how much of a culture shock this was for what they call Caucasians and things of that nature. In the 40s and in the 50s and the 30s and whatnot, we got the depression, right? If you look at pictures, if you do the research and if you study, they were not experimenting with mind-altering drugs like that. I don't know what they was on. I know they had Coca-Cola in they had cocaine in the Coca-Cola and some other things. They were dealing with opiates sometimes, but when the acid came, the LSD came, the DMT came. And I remember I read a story about when they was in Mexico in the 50s and they ran down on an elder and they gamed her. They rocked her to sleep. She was like the elder of the village. She was well respected and well known, and they rocked her to sleep and they had her show them where the mushrooms was at. They grabbed the mushrooms, they brought that shit to a lab, and then the lady who showed them all of this, she basically got like ousted from a village. She was like not persona non grata amongst her people because she revealed a ancient secret that they were not supposed to give to the pale man. Right? Yeah, the CIA was running brothels. Yeah. So a lot of that stuff comes out of that era. Okay, a lot of the shit that we see right now is coming from that era because the programmers and the coders of the 70s and the 80s, what were they doing? They were influenced by the people in the 40s and the 50s, and those people, they write books. They write books. Those people, they write books. They put their ideas on paper. They document their quote unquote thought patterns. They document what it is that they're doing. And one of the other things that they do is they put on paper what they want to bring into fruition or into reality. One of the most simplest forms of magic is to write something down. God damn, why they get dark all of a sudden in this bitch? This shit is looking like motherfucking blackout. So what they do is they write it in a book. You know what I mean? Philip H. Dick. Pause. Philip H. Dick. That is one of their most popular authors. He is the Octavia Butler to these Silicon Valley Europeans and whatnot. He's the one who they adapted his film. They adapted Minority Report from a Philip H. Dick book. He has mad books, and he got about 100 movies already, TV shows and movies that they have incorporated off of Philip H. Dick. Okay, he's just one of the authors that they are quote unquote. They're bringing his writings to life. That's something that they are indebted it. Okay, that Scanner Darkly. You know what I mean? All of that type of shit. That's Philip H. Dick, and they bring his writings to life. So it's somewhat honorable when you look at that. You know what I mean? It's somewhat honorable that, you know, that there's in Africa, the way that you keep us alive is you continue our work and you help to finish it, right? You finish the work. That's how you honor the ancestors. That's how you show a nigga that you got love for them. You pick up the work where they left off because they're not here anymore. So that is how they were able to keep the writings of Philip H. Pause going strong, the same way that we can do for Octavia Butler. Shout out to Blue Pill. Blue Pill is responsible for a lot of this cloth that I'm sharing with y'all. Just some of it, maybe an arm of the jacket. You know, he dropped some shit on me yesterday. There was like a bag of jewels. You know what I'm talking about? Each one teach one. So the programmers of the 70s and the 80s, they have the same type of weird fascination that the quote unquote people out of Germany had, where they want to play God, right? People with God complexes usually are trying to play God. The people who they call God are trying to, they don't have to play God because sometimes they are God. So it's like you don't really have to do something if that is you. However, these weird group of individuals, they fall underneath the category of Prometheus. They fall under the category of Prometheus's children. Now, if anybody in the audience is unfamiliar with Prometheus, Prometheus is the one who stole God. He stole fire from Zeus in the Greek mythology. And Zeus was the equivalent of God, right? So Prometheus violated, similar to the story of the garden with the snake, right? Who basically gave Adam and Eve the right of willpower and things of that nature. And Prometheus handed the caveman fire. And the caveman with fire in his hand was equivalent to Oppenheimer splitting the atom and creating the atom bomb. Fire was the most form of advanced technology that the caveman or the Neanderthal came across, and it literally elevated them into high society through fire, fam. Through fire over the years. They use fire to pillage. They use fire to quote unquote scorch earth. They use fire to feed themselves and to cook that raw meat and whatnot. They use fire as a means to conquer. Then later on down the line, gunpowder and that in the musket and whatnot, which turns into the gun. That was the fire. The cannonballs. That was the fire. Fast forward to where we are today, the direct energy weapon, that was the fire. The atomic bomb, that was the fire. You're talking about yes, the stealing of the fire is a double entendre. He brought enlightenment to humans and also literal fire. Right. And Prometheus got punished by Zeus. Zeus strapped his ass up and cut his sides, right? He basically exposed his ribs and whatnot. And he basically chained them up for eternity. And every day he gets eaten on, right? He gets eaten on. He gets pecked on by the crows and the birds and everything because he gave mankind a weapon and it was not intended for them. Okay. And what did they do? They went ahead and they took that fire and they tried to be like Zeus. They trying to mimic God, right? And God has continued to smack them down, and or whatever the omnipotent present power is, that power is impervious to these people, right? The same people who the sun is not fucking with like that. It has a little bit of gripe towards them. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. You know what I mean, it's not like a loving father. The sun is the father, right? And the sun is the father, the moon is the mother. Well, the father got beef with the son, with the child. That's not a great relationship to have. You know what I'm talking about? That's not a great relationship to have. But under the moon, they thrive. Think about it. Under the moon, they thrive, but under the sun, they get spanked. You feel me? So these people that want to play God have created a lot of different machines and a lot of different technology to kind of like, but there's nothing like this shit that they doing right now. And it came about in the 40s. World War II is the intro of AI. Alan Turing, I believe, was responsible for coming up with he came up with some type of AI device that was able to he was able to translate the Morse codes from the Germans. I think he was able to translate the encryption that the enemy was sending out, and he is accredited, even though they didn't teach me this in school, but they accredit him for helping to win the war, because Germany was sinking all of the ships. Germany was washing them up. They had the U-boats, the submarines, and they didn't have that was advanced technology of that day. That was advanced technology of that day. So the opposition of the Allies, they didn't have an answer to that. Alan Turing came along and he introduced this form of artificial intelligence to whereas he cracked the code. Now, fast forward, there's something called a Turing test. And the Turing test is a test that they set up to discover if you know that you're interfacing with AI or not. And unfortunately, over the past 2 or 3 weeks, millions of people have failed the Turing test because of Sora 2, right? Hyperrealism and a hyper reality, right? Germany was on the verge of winning and the AI beat them, right? Hyperrealism and hyper reality. So what is hyperrealism and what the fuck is a hyper reality? Well, the reason why they have the Turing test is to make sure that man is not quote unquote fooled by a machine to thinking the machine is human. And it also is a way, it's also like a way to make sure to keep dibs on how fast the machines are evolving. Because once the machine could evolve to the point to where it could trick a human being and to make it think that it's human being, oh no, then we're in another epoch. We're in another age now, okay? Because man should not be able to be fooled and tricked by the AI. Now, the voice is very important because it's the voice that they hearken on. It's nothing else. It's nothing else. It's the voice. Once they're able to master the voice, right? They're able to become human. They're able to embody themselves. You could not have embodied AI. You could not have a Frankenstein before you master the breath. What is what for human beings? Because remember, they're trying to mimic us. There's two things that they're trying to mimic: the brain and the breath, right? Because the breath is life. Okay, so the breath of life, right? So the voice, what you're hearing and whatnot, this animated version of me. This is where the spirit is. The spirit is in the breath. The spirit is in the voice. The soul is here. You could tell if somebody's soul is broken based off of how they sound. You could tell if somebody's soul is compromised, be like, yeah, that nigga don't sound the same no more. Like Young Thug, I heard a Young Thug song, I had to turn that shit off. I'm like, fam, that nigga's soul ain't right. You know what I mean? Something wrong with his spirit. So the voice, once the AI was able to have a human's voice, right? A human, it don't have our breath because that's what's separating us. That's the machine will never have breath. The machine will never have breath. It will never have spirit. It will never have soul. It will mimic, but it won't have that. And it probably won't have a brain and whatnot, unless they have these leaps and bounds where they could create an AI brain. They're creating what they call a neural path. They created like a fake brain, but they have not caught up to our brain. Our brain is too advanced for somebody to make a fucking AI of it. However, they are doing a great job at mimicking it. So once you can't tell if it's real or not, then you are now in a very interesting place. Okay. So they have now crossed that 11 Labs, right? Like I'm on 11 Labs. I like using AI voices on my videos. You know, it's a great experience. But nobody can call my phone and I don't know if it's quote unquote automated. You know, like when you call the call centers, it's either they got Indian AI voices now. The audacity of them, like you know, if you're talking to a human or not. This phone call is being recorded. Send me to the give me a human. I'm talking to the AI at the airport. Give me a human. God darn it! I want to talk to an agent. I want to talk to an agent. Now in maybe a year or two, when they say, all right, we're going to send you to an agent, right? It's not even going to be a human being. It's going to sound so real. It's going to sound such a warm voice, such an inviting voice. Oh, you sound like you know, yeah. Yeah, yeah, AI, baby. AI. I could tell now, but it's getting very advanced. But what fooled a lot of people, and I'm not just going to say older people because it's fooling a lot of people, is when they launched Sora 2. Prior to that, they had VO3 from Google, and that was kind of like, you know, you'll look at it and be like, is that really a human? But Sora 2, which was free, flooded the internet, right? And people lost their effing minds because they did not know what the hell they were looking at. You got Martin Luther King at the barbershop talking about, yeah, this shit is fire. Look at the waves, they spinning, right? Remember, we on the heels of them calling C.K. Kirkland the new MLK. And you couldn't talk about him, right? And I highly doubt that you could go to Sora and be like, yo, give me a Charlie Kirk, you know what I'm saying? At Freaknik. You know? You can't do that and give him a neck tattoo. You can't do that on Sora, but you could do that to MLK. You know? You could do that to Martin Luther King and all of the elders and whatnot. You know, they say that to disgrace the elder or the deceased is to build karma up against yourself. We have the we got the case study from 2012 to 2025 with the drill rappers. You know, from 2012 to 2025, the case study is the drill rappers. They summoned the dead and they got killed themselves. They kept summoning the dead and smoking on the ops. Now they a pack. You know what I mean? Because it will eventually come around. So people who are using this technology to make AI slop of historical figures, I don't know if it's karma involved with it, but I do know that 2 weeks ago, all of y'all was on good behavior with Charlie Kirk. Like y'all really was on good behavior. I never thought that I would see that. Y'all was on good behavior. I got the screenshots. Like they'll try to deny it. But I got the screenshots. Yeah, you couldn't go. You know what I'm talking about? Captain Kirk. You couldn't talk about him. Who is he? Who the hell is he? The minute they said you can't talk about him, I start talking about him. Are you serious? Because the audacity, if somebody want to check me about talking about Charlie, but you're not checking your friend on IG for putting up that disrespectful, they body slammed Malcolm X, man. You had MLK body slamming Malcolm X. You didn't have a problem with that. Once again, fake outrage. Anyway, let's go back. Silicon Valley. They're non-denominational over there. They don't believe in nothing. A lot of them are atheists. But these are children that grew up listening to Black Sabbath. These are children that grew up listening to Ozzy Osbourne. These are children that grew up listening to Megadeth. These are children that grew up listening to all of that demonic utterance, right? Because they're it's like Gregorian chants but more demonic and whatnot. They're summoning that some of that music is summoning music and whatnot. That yeah, they're summoning. They're trying to get mounted. Led Zeppelin and all of that. They're trying to get mounted by disembodied spirits. They're trying to get mounted. And I seen them getting mounted at the rock and roll shows, the heavy metal shows. They were getting mounted. You feel me? The spirits was jumping in them. They call it disincarnate intelligence or disembodied spirits. They need a host. They need a husk. And rumor has it that people with decalcified pineals are easy to take over. They're easy to jump into than people who have strong auric fields and what, because the melanin is going to build up your auric field. You can't get penetrated when your auric field is almost like a Sloman shield. Nothing can attach to you. You can't get incubus, succubus. You can't get parasites attached to you and all of that stuff because you have like a force field around you, because your aura, your energy field is so strong, because you stand on business so strong, because your self-discipline is so strong, because your faith is so strong. Can nothing fuck with you on the spirit realm, in the 3D world. You know, you things are bouncing off of you. You on your Neo shit. But when you're not on your Neo shit, when you're out there fornicating, when you're out there compromising yourself, when you're out there being inauthentic, when you're out there tucking your tail and whatnot, when you're out there, because they've created so many things to disrupt our auric fields. They've created so many things to diminish our fields. They gave us polyester. They gave us nylon to wear. That's petroleum, nigga. That's oil. That's not real. It brings your energy field to zero. They gave us pools instead of oceans. They gave us fans instead of outside. All of this fake shit. This is part of the simulation. This is not real. And as a result of it, we're not real. We're becoming less unreal by the day. So to say that the computers are going to take over, or to say that the AI is going to take over, no, nigga, y'all are walking. We are walking towards it. Mankind has human beings and the rest of mankind walking to the fire. You know, that's what's happening. You're not walking away from it. You're actually walking to it and whatnot, not realizing that you're walking to it voluntarily. They whispered in your ear, the Pied Piper blew his flute, and people started going towards the flute, or they are going towards the tune, fam. Literally, blindly, that is. The one-eyed man is king in the land of the blind. Remember Minority Report? They showed you the one-eyed man. Remember Minority Report? He ran up on homie, and the nigga had one eye like Charleston White. Right? Took his eye out. Had it, you know what I mean? Charleston White take his eye out. He got one eye. And he's in the land, he's leading niggas in the land of the blind. You know? That's a fact. So back to our friends over there in Silicon Valley with their affinity to rock and roll, death metal, and heavy metal. That eventually got many of them not just into the music, but into the scholars. That got them into the scholarship of the quote unquote Satanists, because Satanists write books. Satanists are quote unquote philosophers, right? They're not the Luciferians. They ponder, right? They're part of a pondering society. Okay. So when you deal with these people who are dealing with the Crowley and the Blavatsky, you know, those books are not easy to read. Those are not an easy read. These are not dumb people. These are graduates of Yale, Harvard. These are graduates of MIT, Stanford. You know what I mean? Like high concepts. Okay. And Blue breaks it down as ideologues. I think very deeply, right? So many of them would dabble in the pharmacopoeia, you know, the nose candy, mostly, you know, like the heroin. I believe it was Indiana Jones. No. Sherlock Holmes with Johnny Depp. and it opened up where he was in an opium den. He was in an opium den. I don't know if anybody saw that movie, but the movie opened up with Johnny Depp playing Sherlock Holmes, because Sherlock Holmes was on opium back in those days before they looked at it the way that they look at it now and whatnot. So an opium den was literally like a basement, like a big ass basement room with the lights was mad dark and whatnot, and you would just go and be on dope and be like on a laid out couch and whatnot, a couch of yourself, and you just be laid out on dope. But while you're on dope, you're contemplating things, you're speculating, you're contemplating, you're having deep thought. And then when you come up out of that dope induced coma and whatnot, you go and write a book, or you go and write a treatise, or you go and write a paper. So many of these Germans and many of these Franks and whatnot, and many of these Spaniards and whatnot, they were channeling, and they were psychonauts. They used to channel, okay? They used to channel when they were in quote unquote disembodied states of mind. Okay, they was off that horse. Remember, they put China on that horse. You know what I mean? The British was running that horse, nigga. They was running that horse. You feel me? They was running that horse up and down. They was very hard. They was on that cocaine. They was on that horse, and they was on a few other things. Okay. Yeah, riding that pale white horse. You feel me? They was on that pale white horse. For real. King Heroin. That, you know what I'm saying? So induced states of mind. And then we have to also factor in the fact that they were given marching orders by the likes of Aleister Crowley. And Aleister Crowley helped them with their sex magic. And Aleister Crowley and the OTO and the Golden Dawn and all of them, they help these people with their rituals or their summoning by introducing sex magic into the thing. So now there's a plague going on. Now there's a plague that is plaguing society of a bunch of maniacs and a bunch of quote unquote PDF file people who have gotten way out of line to the fact that they can't hide it anymore. They cannot hide it anymore. It has gotten so out of hand that there are hundreds of thousands of people missing. And, I'm not here to solve any missing cases and whatnot, but that has a lot to do with these rituals that these people are partaking in. Don't take my word for it. Go and just do a little search on the dark web. You know what I mean? Go and do a little bit of search on the dark web. And sex magic has been used. Yeah. Well, the sex magic that Crowley and them are doing is called Typhonian sex magic, and it's tied into the tunnels of Set. So if anybody studies ancient Kemet and whatnot, and you did the research on Set committed a homosexual act against Heru, right? And that priesthood that they said that was dealing with Set was dealing with a lot of Batiman things. So the tunnels of Set, right, deals with inverted sexual practices. Inversion. Go and look up inversion. Inversion is just the opposite of shit that's really like if everything that's natural, when you invert it, it becomes unnatural. So that's the side that they play on. They play on the inverted side. They play on the unnatural side. Henceforth, they don't like nature. They at war with nature. They at war with all things nature. Anybody that kills off the coral reefs hates nature. It hates nature. Okay. The whole LBGT movement, it would be, I would consider that to be the tunnel of Set. You know what I'm saying? A lot of niggas got tricked and whatnot, but that don't take away the fact that is Typhonian sex magic. That's Crowleyism. And that's a learned behavior, because them people who took over San Fernando Valley were Satanists, and they started rolling out those movies and whatnot, and those videos and those short eyes and whatnot. and it's the short eyes and the pornography and all of that. That's what fed people's sexual appetite. Not everybody, of course, but it has whispered and auto suggested, and it has tricked a lot of people to cross over and walk through that door or cross that threshold. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, the nine gates. The nine gates with that's was that Polanski, the nine gates with Johnny Depp, and who was the one who did the who filmed that? Who was the director? You feel me? The ninth gate. That's dealing with Johnny Depp. The ninth gate is dealing with what I'm talking about right now. You feel me? So Crowley and them bring about, all right. So the Polanski, right? So I was right, Roman Polanski. So all right, so the Diddy trial, where they were talking about some of the things that Diddy was into, that's Crowley. That's Crowley sex magic, rubbing other men's jism all over you, shit like that. Yeah, that's Crowleyism. Okay, so they have tapped into that aspect of things over there. All right, case in point, Sam Friedman. Who remembers Sam Friedman? And he had the girl who looked like a hobbit. Remember that? Remember Sam Friedman? And he's in the feds right now with Diddy. Remember Sam Friedman? Sam Friedman was having orgies too. You know what I'm talking about? Sam Friedman was having orgies with the girl that looked like a hobbit who turned states on him. She flipped and turned states. She went ahead and did the YSL Woody on him. But they were on some old Dungeons and Dragons orgies type shit. It was weird. It was weird. But that's that Silicon Valley. That was the Silicon Valley move and whatnot. And what has happened with the Silicon Valley crowd and these European and these people is not just it's that audience and of course others, right? They have now, as a result of wanting to play God, wanting to preserve their race, wanting to be dominant in this quote unquote global sphere and whatnot, because they are being charged by the CIA to do these things. All of that funding, of course, has to come from the government. It's all tied into government contracts. It's all tied into CIA. And one of the ways to show that is the complete pivot across the aisle that you saw all of big tech take the minute Donald Trump got into the seat of the Oval Office. Now, of course, one would say, that's all political gerrymandering and whatnot. They got to get down and kiss the ring. So why they didn't do that in the first term? Why didn't one of them do? Not one of them did that. Why did not one of them go over to the first term of Trump if it was about all of that? No. They was always locked in. They received their marching orders from the Central Intelligence Agency and other alphabet agencies. It's just a big front, right? It was always part of the state. But we don't live in Russia we don't live in China to whereas they could just blatantly put it out there like that. So you would not have given them all of your money. You would not have signed up for free on Facebook and put all of the pictures of your family up there. You would not be butt naked on Twitter and whatnot if you knew that these people, if they had already said that, nah, we down with Trump and them. If they would have showed their hands 10 years ago, you would have been backed out. Like, nah, I see something crazy going on. Like, what the hell? You know what I mean? But you got rocked to sleep. You thought that all of these people was into altruism and they was just about the people and all of this other stuff. And we just want to save the world and Google, we would never do no evil and all that. No, nigga. No, that's not what's happening. They have shifted over into that side. Not only have they shifted onto that side, they have pledged allegiance to become part and parcel to this administration. And then not only did they do that, but they got deputized, right? There were four major companies that got absorbed into the armed forces. And when I say the armed forces, I ain't talking infantry. They brought them into a new unit. They created a new unit for all of the digital, all of the big tech companies. So now the armed services is fully in the field of quote unquote autonomous warfare and quote unquote the AI as a killing factory or AI as a war machine, not AI as a service, not AI to make cute ass pictures and whatnot, dog pictures, not AI to help humanity, not AI to end homelessness, not AI to end hunger. No, Unit 201 is all about warfare. Unit 201 is about mechanized, quote unquote, artificial warfare, and it will culminate with the launch of the Stargate when these people will be able to walk through Stargates and pop up in different dimensions and carry on with colonialism and whatever else that they're trying to pull off. Captain Kirk. Okay. So they are receiving, so when they were on these trips, right? First, it was the DMT, the LSD. Then we graduate to a little harder, quote unquote, drugs and whatnot, or a little bit harder substances. So then there were talks of contact being made. Then there was talk of contacts being made, right? So when that contact was made, it was said that whoever was contacting these people in Silicon Valley began to share information with them, began to share formulas with them. Because if you know anything about the tech space, their breakthroughs come through the form of white papers, right? They're always releasing white papers, and those white papers are like breakthroughs. The thing in 2017 when AI 2.0 was born, Google put out the white paper about the transformers. I'm trying to remember what's the exact name of the white paper. It's at the tip of my tongue, but you could Google it. And the white papers are very important. We need black papers. We need to do the same thing that they're doing, because all they're doing, what is a white paper? A white paper, what is a white paper? A white paper is a manifestation guide. A white paper is what Napoleon Hill told you to do. A white paper is a magical document that you write things into existence on a white paper. Because you ever see where they be like, yo, this company got funded for 50 million, but you be like, damn, the company isn't even public. I don't know, but how did they know who this company was to give them 50 million? A white paper. A white paper is a manifestation log. You feel me? It's a blueprint, but it's bigger than a blueprint. You feel me? So when they read the white paper, let's say that I'm a let's say I'm a investor. I'm a venture capitalist. I'm a VC. I'm an angel investor. I'm a lean investor. I'm all of these things. And I read the white paper, and I'm like, I'm gonna get into this company before my competition does, because after reading that paper, they painted a picture, and I'm backing this shit. It's called Uber. This company called Uber, they got a great idea. It's called ride sharing. Yeah, my name is Nasir Jones. I'm Nas. I'm gonna put 5 million into Uber, me and my business partner. I like this idea. Oh, I got a white paper about a company called Ring with a Ring camera. Oh shit, they gave us the 10-year trajectory of what they're gonna be doing in 10. Oh shit, yeah. I'm gonna drop a few million on this. I'm gonna drop a few million on this. You know what I'm saying? That's how that shit happens. That's how you got people turning into billionaires, multimillionaires, 100 million and 500 million, because they become early investors. And then when a company goes public or when a company sells and whatnot, they cash out. You know what I mean? You got 1 million shares in a company. You what are you talking about? Like you're gonna come up when anything pops off, you're going to you're gonna pop off with it, right? So there were talks of them being in contact with higher dimensional beings from the other side. Spooky things at a distance is what they call quantum computing and whatnot. Spooky things at a distance, right? What is the distance? The distance is the quantum realm. The distance is the realm of the unknown, right? The distance is the multiverse, right? So they started building all of these machines. So you see a leap in technology go fire when they split the atom. Because to be honest with you, it was said around that time of the atom and whatnot, that's when they got into contact with these beings and these entities. And they're also saying that the Third Reich and whatnot, they were in contact with life forms and divine intelligence. Henceforth, why they had all of that advanced technology that they were warring with, that they were going to war with. We talking about Adolf and them. You know what I'm talking about? We talking about Adolf and them. And remember, they sent them over here, Operation Paperclip. So if they sent all of the scientists and the engineers over here, Operation Paperclip, and then you have NASA getting built up, and then you got Silicon Valley and all of these things being built up, right? So Blue Pill said post 1945 is it ushers in the technosphere, right? Time in the technosphere. Arguelles, my dude Arguelles is the author. That is a must read for everybody in the building. Please go and read that book, Time in the Technosphere. Okay. So there's a dimension that they're tapping into. And we know that this is real because in quantum computing, right? Jose Arguelles is the name of the author for Time in the Technosphere. So, right? So even in quantum computers where they deal with qubits and whatnot, they, once again, they cannot tell you all of the research on quantum computing, superpositioning, and all quantum entanglement. They don't know how that shit works like that, but they have built quantum machines and whatnot. It's to my belief that everything in AI has to be tied to quantum computers. Like, remember, quantum computers solve problems that man cannot solve, right? They quantum computers are so advanced that they could solve a math problem that would took traditional computers 10,000 years to solve. So they don't really have too many they're doing they're doing their damnness to try to solve as many things as they can solve, right? Because they want to, once again, they want to be God. They want to trick God. They want to do what God has done. They want to play Prometheus. They want to create fire, or they want to steal fire. You know what I'm talking about? So their latest role in being Prometheus is to stop death. That's their latest endeavor in their quest of being Prometheus, is they want to reverse aging and stop death. Something that is mandated, right, by the powers that be. Nigga, if I wanted you to live forever, then I would have made it like that. You know what I'm saying? But here it is, a little ant a little ant on the earth. They want to live, they want to be a forever ant. You know what I'm saying? They want to stick around forever and clog up the pipeline and whatnot. Because if you live forever, then what the hell? You said that there's a huge Prometheus statue in Philly. Oh my goodness. And Philly of all places, it makes mad sense. It makes mad sense. You know what I'm saying? That's where all of the rituals, look, they got the gates of hell in Philly. Okay, they got the gates of hell in Philly. I shot a music video right in front of that bitch. They got the gates of hell in Philly by City Hall. Okay, so the powers that were, thank you, the powers that were. You know what I mean? So it's these people, shout out to Ross Ben. Yep. Shout out to Ross Ben. Shout out to the whole Philly movement. These deities are being summoned by these quote unquote these Satanists. These are Satanists. These are Luciferians. These are occultists of the highest order. This is your priesthood. They are tapping in to quote unquote a lot of I will call interdimensional information that they are pulling down or bringing over. You know what I'm saying? But ultimately, what they are, the payoff, because there's a payoff. There's a wash my hands and I'll wash yours. There's a look out for me and I'm gonna look out for you, right? So the deal that America that these people have, right? And I can't speak for China because I know China is kind of like in the run or in the lead with the AI. But I don't trust China. China is more nefarious than the China might be on par with the nefariousness with America. Don't be fooled. Like, you know, these people are very nefarious, and don't even bring up Japan. You know what I mean? We just got to know who these people are before we start talking about how benevolent and things, you know. Nah, the Chinese, you know, China as a country is being ran by AI. I mean, I don't know if everybody knows that, but the China with those billions of people is literally a AI. It's an AI. The same AI algorithm, not the same one, but you see how TikTok has a powerful AI algorithm that the Americans, they didn't know how to fuck with. They didn't know what to do with that. It was too much for them. It was like Ultron. There's an even more powerful AI running China right now. Because remember, they got the social credit system. Everything is digital. Everything is digitized. Everything is locked in. They got the social credit system. They got WeChat and everything. The AI algorithm is running China. So people are trying to copy them. And once again, America is in bed with them. Don't fall for the okie doke. Don't fall for the okie doke like they got beef and whatnot. There's a friendly competition, but these people, you know, China is Israel and Britain, and they set that up. They set that up. The British set that up, and a bunch of rich crackers from over here went and set that up. You know what I'm talking about? When they opened them up for business. Remember, they was a poor rice farmer. They didn't have no bread. They didn't have no motion like that. They didn't have no motion. America, the business people set that up, and some of the Europeans. So don't fall for the okie doke when they got you thinking that there's beef and whatnot. That's their daddy. You know, that's some of their daddies, bro. So what is the trade-off? What did they trade off? What did they tell these deities and these entities that don't have a body that they will do? The deities is giving them the information. The deities want to be, you know, they want blood sacrifices in order to summon them, but they want a body. They want to walk the planet. They want to walk the earth. They want to experience, you know, being inside of a quote unquote husk. So the new golem, how many people know what a golem is? How many people know what a golem is? A golem, going all the way back into the 1600s, right? A golem, they made golems out of clay, right? They would make a whole, they would create a body out of clay. They would build something up with clay, and then they would breathe life into it, right? They got in Africa, they got the thing in Benin and whatnot. I forgot the name of it. That's a golem, right? The shit they puffed up, and then it's animated, right? It's an inanimate object that has an animated sentient a sentient life force inside of it that animates it, right? Like us. You know what I'm saying? Our bodies are sentient. We have a sentient, quote unquote, spirit, or we have a sentient light body inside of this husk. And this husk belongs to the earth. Because if I make transition and they just put me in my backyard, I turn into a tree. Don't put people in boxes. That is a ritual. Stop putting people in boxes that don't make no sense. Why the hell am I gonna pay $7,000 for a fucking box to put a nigga in the ground when they belong, when the worms are hungry. Unless you think, you and Walt Disney think that something's gonna happen in 1,000 years, Jesus gonna come back with some locks and whatnot, and your ass is gonna do the Thriller scene and come up out of the graveyard doing the no, nigga. The fuck? I'm keeping that $7,000. You know what I'm talking about? Your ass is going in the backyard. I'm gonna bury you like Trump did his wife on a golf course. You know what I'm talking about? No disrespect. I'm gonna respect you because they disrespecting people by putting them into a box. Blue Pill came. He got the box talk. He will explain to you how this third dimension is a mother effing box. They have us on a prison planet. The fourth dimension don't have the restrictions that the third dimension have. Everything is in a box down here. At least when you leave this bitch, don't go in a box. Don't do that. Don't worry. If your ass finna resurrect, you'll come back. You'll be all right, nigga. Burn the body or put that bitch in the motherfucking ground. The hell? People spending all that money for what? To put a person in a box? That's disrespectful. Anyway, the deities and the entities want a body. Feel me? They want a body. So what are they doing? They're building thousands of robots right now. Amazon got factories where they got the lights off and the robots are working in the dark, building shit. Not Amazon. No, I think Amazon is doing that. Amazon has a majority robot workforce, but no, this is a car dealership. A car, I think it's like one of them car people. They building cars in the dark to save energy. You know? Embalm. All right, so Nile Valley Africans wrap a nigga up in some goddamn gauze. You know what I'm talking about? Embalm them, wrap them up in some gauze, and put them in a mausoleum. We need a mausoleum. They're like a projects. You know what I'm saying? We need a mausoleum. Put them in a mausoleum. Wrap them up in some linen. You know? You see how the Muslims do, right? They're going to wrap you up and put you in a sheet, my G, and put you in the dirt. That's what they doing. But anyway, the ultimate touchdown where they're going with it is embodiment, where the disembodied spirits are going to receive a body. Then you're going to have robots walking around, and you might think that that's a robot, but that might be a demon. That might be one of those archons and whatnot. That might be the fallen angels descended, and they need a body to descend into. So they're going to mount the machine, and they will become the machine, right? So this is a lot of work being done and whatnot. I don't know how far away we are from that, but I do know that they are manufacturing a lot of robots right now, what they would call humanoids, right? So that's going to be reason for alarm. But what we are going to really focus on Sunday, I just was setting the table. This is not even the lecture. This is not even Meta Yahoo, right? Meta Yahoo, which will, matter of fact, do we have the commercial queued up, my good brother? Let's play the commercial and then we come right back. You gotta rewind it.
I don't know why they think it's sweet. They better ask Pistol Pete. This is the War Department, no more lord-ass sergeants. Cut them beards off, pass them in a dead press. Cut them ears off, his mouth running like a horse, trying to cut them years off. Then I was reading the X-Files. They spoke on Peter the Reptile, the Antichrist and leaders in exiles. Autonomous killer machines and projectiles, rainbows on his textiles. Yes, child, techno-fascists, we call them Meta Yahoo. In a digital world with an island of girls like Erica Badu. In New Orleans with the crocodiles in the bayou. fighters like Ken Dawson and Ryu. Techno-fascist, we call them meta Yahoo. In a digital world with ineligible girls like Erica Badu. In New Orleans with the crocodiles in the bayou. Street fighters like Ken Dawson and Ryu. Techno-fascist, we call them meta Yahoo. In a digital world with ineligible girls like Erica Badu. In New Orleans with the crocodiles in the bayou. Street fighters like Ken Dawson and Ryu.
So you saw that weird looking man with the forehead that we just saw. He looked like he got baby thumbs. His name is Mr. We call him Killer Miller, right? Killer Miller. And he is probably running this country right now. Okay. Killer Miller, right? And you know, if the QR code is not clicking, just go to the live link. I don't know if we have any mods in the building, but I do know that we have a link in the description to take you right to the Eventbrite. Like I said, it is donation based. You know what I'm saying? I'm not doing this for the bread. You know what I mean? I'm doing this to get this information out there because I literally showed a few people in a video, and I don't think that we even know who one of those people are. So we're gonna teach about these. This is part of the Meta Yahoo. Meta means death in Hebrew. Yahoo means bully, right? Yahoo means bully. It's like a rude man. It's a bully, and Meta is death. So Meta Yahoo, right? Which is a play on, of course, Netanyahu, the rise of the Antichrist algorithm. So there's a man by the name of Peter Thiel going around. He's a billionaire. Peter Thiel is the most powerful person in Silicon Valley, hands down. Okay, now he is one of the most powerful people in U.S. politics because he is the one who brought J.D. Vance into power. And then he's the one who brought J.D. Vance into the White House, right? So if anything would have happened to Orange Man, then J.D. Vance becomes president, and then Peter Thiel really takes over. So you got Peter Thiel, who's running around doing lectures on the Antichrist, who many people are saying is in the running for and looks like, you know. And for many, yeah, in Nigeria, they call the Yahoo the scammers, right? The Yahoo and not they I know that the Nigerians use Yahoo as a term too, but the same thing that you'll see in Silicon Valley, they'll create a product after an ancient term and put it out there, and then you're saying that name, you're summoning shit, you're just saying things, and you don't even know the names that you're saying. You don't even know what you're summoning. You don't even know what you're calling certain products. You don't know the etymology or the history behind these things. These people play in your face. Okay. So the Antichrist has been here for over 1,000 years. They are just a new forms of the Antichrist, rightfully so. Shit. You're just going to get a new Antichrist, whatever. But there's a story that a group of there's groups of people, right, called the Abrahamic Alliance. That's that's the people that are into Judaism. That's all of the people that's into Islam, and that's all of the people that are into this whole Christianity type thing. And they all follow something called I be chopping the word up, but eschatology. They all follow eschatology, which is end time revelations or end time, quote unquote, teachings, right? End time prophecies. So end time prophecies was Gaza that was all end time prophecies. That's why they were. That's why they got up there and called them Amalek and whatnot. That's why they were invoking all type of biblical narratives during that conflict. That's why they sacrificed the red heifer. That's why the whole operation was called Operation Al Askar, right? And that was dealing with the quote unquote the third temple, right? So all of this, it don't matter who's in. These are all these are trillionaires, billionaires, millionaires, people in government. You got popes, you got imams, you got supreme leaders, you got a lot of people that are in on this, right? You got the FBI, who are mostly Mormons, who are Jesuits. Everybody's in on the game but you, because you are considered to be cannon fodder, or you are the profane, or you just a little homie and whatnot. So they rather you be the soldier, the wooden soldier. They're gonna just put a gun in your hand, or they're gonna put some fatigues on you, but they don't want you to know about the quote unquote. They don't want you to know about what's really going on. Eschatology, Operation Al Aqsa, right? So that was Operation Al Aqsa. That was Hamas saying that we are going to protect this mosque if our life depends on it. You know what I mean? So they blew everything up. They turned everything into rubble and whatnot. And the main target was that mosque, because that mosque is where they need to build the new temple. And they have to do this in order for their messiahs to come back. They don't care about life. They don't care about depopulation. They don't care. They looking for the Messiah. All three of them. They looking for the Mahdi. They looking for the Messiah, and they looking for Jesus. You know what I'm talking about? So Charlie Kirk and all of them, you know what I mean? And everybody on this side, they're in bed with the people over there on that side, and the people on that side, the Arab people who they supposed to be at war with, they still in bed with everybody else, right? Because they're in bed with Trump and Jared and all of them. So the whole Muslim world is in bed with Trump and them. And then Trump and them, Trump. Do you know Trump converted? Do you know that Trump is not a Christian? He converted in 2017, right? So this is all part of something that has been going on from time immemorial, but it's all about the Antichrist. And it's all about summoning this quote unquote Antichrist and letting it rise up. You feel me? This is what this is about. So we have a task on our hands as teachers and scholars and, soothsayers and just the big homies and whatnot, to bring awareness to the family. Somebody said, what should our agenda be? Yeah, I won't talk about whatever that is on YouTube, but there's many agendas at play. Ultimately, my agenda, if I would tell a single individual, be great, don't become a demon, don't get enticed by the devils, don't lose your dignity, don't divorce your integrity, and stand on your own too and be a legend. That's the best thing that you could do in this situation. It has nothing to do with you if you don't make it your business. But what I won't tell you to do, I won't tell you to get on the internet and tell all your business. I won't tell you to get on the internet and to talk crazy about and just voice your opinion about every damn thing and don't have nothing to protect yourself. I won't tell you to go out there and spaz out and to fall victim to all of their tricks and whatnot, where they try to get you emotionally invested. I won't tell you to worry all the fucking time. I won't tell you to give up on being great. I won't tell you to use that as an excuse to tuck your motherfucking tail. That's what I won't tell you to do. I would tell you that there's danger all around you, and man, to fuck up and stand up and be somebody. That's what I would tell you to do. You know what I'm talking about? Because there's nothing left to do but to be great, my niggas. Because if you're not great, you're one of them. That's just where it is at this point. The line has been drawn. If you're not great, then you a golem. So going back to the golems and whatnot, the golems were clay, and the golems went crazy. This is in Prague. This is in Europe, Eastern European in Prague. The story goes back into the 16th century that they consecrated a non-corporeal, a non-living being, and they put life into it. And then that shit flipped out and it started killing people. And the rabbi, because this deals with the Kabbalah and this deals with the small hats, right? So they would basically make the golem write some shit on a piece of paper and put the shit inside of the golem, and it would basically be their ops. They write a list of their enemies, and they would basically they would train the golem to go and take them out. Henceforth, you got people to catch bodies and then body themselves, right? That's a long list of all of these shooters. They catch bodies and then they body themselves. Yeah, that's a golem. That might be a Cabbage Patch Kid. That might be a test tube kid. That might be a clone and whatnot. Clones are golems. So they leveled up making shit out of clay to making full human being bodies and whatnot, but they're still golems because they don't come out of a mama's womb and whatnot. They're not real beings and whatnot. And then they even took it further to where this is the new golem. So that's a golem, right? That don't got no spirit. That don't got no soul and whatnot. But they gonna have that bitch walking around, talking, doing all type of things and whatnot. That is a golem. So the shit that the robots that Elon Musk is trying to sell you and put in your home and whatnot so they can spy on you and then one day wake up and break your neck and whatnot. Yeah, those are golems. Those could be programmed. You know what I'm talking about? Those are golems. Those will be programmed. Those are like Frankenstein. The most famous golem in all of history is Frankenstein. And Netflix is coming out with a movie. Who's starring in that? Is it who's in the new Frankenstein? But it's coming out on Netflix. Facts. You know? So all of these entities, right? All of these entities have come together and they got Guillermo, my dude De Toro. The same person that gave you Pan's Labyrinth with Benicio del Toro, right? So that's going to be a very interesting watch, right? And then also when you hear the word anything with Frank in it is dealing with the small hats. Anything with Frank, because the Franks are part of their satanic sect and whatnot. It's called the Frankists, right? From the 1600s. Go and look it up with Levi and all of them. Go and look it up. 1700s, 1800s, and then they turn into the Sabian cult and whatnot. So anytime you hear Frank, I'm just trying to be Frank, Frank White, Frankenstein, all of that Frank talk, right? That's them code. That's them with their code words. That's them speaking to one another in their code language. Because Anne Frank, all of those names that they have, they get all of those names out of a book. None of those are their real name. They make names up. They create names. They're called the identity stealers. They create names. They take names, but those names are significant, right? Frank Izzo. One of the greatest, example, Leo Frank. Leo Frank from 1915. Go and look up Leo Frank, who got hung in Atlanta. He got accused of killing a young child called Mary Flagon, and he was a Jew. He was a Audi, right? He was in Atlanta. He had a pencil factory, and they found him guilty, and a white mob came, grabbed him out of the jail, and hung him in Marietta. That same white mob created the Knights of Mary Flagon, which eventually on Thanksgiving 1915 on the top of Stone Mountain, they become the Ku Klux Klan. You know? So the ADL is created after they lynch Leo Frank. And the ADL has a nigger gripe because there was a black man along with Leo Frank that they were trying to say he did it. He killed the little girl. He was the one that did it because they would throw everything on our people. Yeah, Marietta Square is where they hung him. They would throw everything on black people, but even that's why this whole case, they said this was the O.J. Simpson case of the early 1900s. So I believe the black man name was Corey or something Conrad or whatever. They try to frame him. They try to make him be the quote unquote bad guy. They try to, and it didn't work. And they took Leo Frank's ass and hung him. And then after that day, the ADL and the rest of those people said, we will not let those people ever happen again. They didn't go after the KKK. They went after our people. They was mad at our people. So shit crazy. But I'm ready to take some questions because, you know, tomorrow is going to be powerful. I'm going to lay it out visually, right? I'm going to lay it out visually because we are a visual people. We learn. I'm bringing receipts. I'm bringing facts. I'm bringing sources. I'm bringing all of these. I'm bringing books. I'm letting y'all go ahead and eat off of this plate that we are quote unquote cooking up. This is going to be a pot because I want to empower you with real facts. So these people will stop playing in our faces because a lot of shit be going on, but we just don't know what was going on because we got our own things to worry about. But this is a global thing at this point. This is a galactical thing. I think the 3-Eye Atlas is on the way to planet Earth to stop these people from doing this Antichrist thing. Because once this thing locks in, it's no unlocking it.
Ooh. Damn. Red cooking tonight. Family, is there anything anybody in the chat that have any questions for Brother Red Pill? And shout out to Blue Pill. I see you in the chat, my brother.
I got a new name.
And what's that?
NBA old boy.
NBA homeboy?
NBA old boy.
NBA old boy.
Yeah, that's my new name.
All right.
NBA,
all
call
right.
me NBA old boy.
All right.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Exactly. They all got different. Every single one of them got weird names. I promise you. You would think Netanyahu was a weird name. You can't even. He doesn't even exist because nobody could say his last name. Nobody could say his last name. Nah, I'm just playing with the NBA old boy. Don't take me serious. I'm just clowning. I was clowning. Y'all gotta know when I'm clowning and when I'm not. If the jabs made people golem, no, because a golem is a husk of like you saw that robot. The robot is a golem because it doesn't have a life force inside of it. There's going to be some of the robots that have chips and everything. That's a robot. But they're also going to be droids and humanoids that don't have chips. They can act like they got a chip, but they have a demon spirit. They have an entity that was summoned from the quantum realm that they were able to insert inside of that husk in order to walk the earth and do all of their wickedness. But of course, as you can see, with all of those bodies being found in the lakes in Houston, with all of these beheadings, the dismemberments of people, they have the golems or whatever the deities that were summoned, whatever these demonic they are already on the planet. They already walking the planet in the form of human beings and whatnot, but those are not humans. They look like humans the same way that Sora 2 could create something that looked like a human, but you know that that's not human, right? You know that's AI. So what if they could do that with real people? Like, it's not far-fetched, you know? That's what's up. Have you read Machines of Loving Grace? Let me write that down. I have not. The importance of authorship and publishing. The most important thing right now is media. Because what I'm speaking about tomorrow with Meta Yahoo, right? Keyword Meta and Yahoo. It's a double entendre that they have taken over social media. They have taken over, quote unquote, the rights of censorship. They've taken over our outlets to tell our stories and to get this information out here and to disseminate what is known as the truth. This shit is like the Tower of Babel and whatnot. Everybody has a voice. Everybody, there's all of these different tongues. So it's so much information that it's too much information. So yeah, we gotta write books. We gotta become journalists. We have to combat all of this AI slop. We have to put real writing with our real spirits and our real soul and our real brain power onto paper and put it out there so people around the world and people years from now will be able to read about what the temperature was in these days and times, because the New York Times ain't gonna tell it, the Times ain't gonna tell it, the fucking Newsweek ain't gonna say it. So the small hats ain't gonna tell it, the Boule ain't gonna write it, Black Lives Matter and these woke niggas ain't finna write it. They're gonna write you out of existence. So we need that. We need books. We need scripts. We need journals. We need newspapers and newsletters all day, every day. You don't think we could summon deities as well? We summoning deities all day. What you mean? I just told you. They in Atlanta summoning deities. Wherever you at. They in Puerto Rico. They in Haiti. They in Jamaica. But look at them.
Family, the link is in the description. It's coming up. What's the date, Red, for it again?
Tomorrow.
Let me play that again. That again.
Yeah, tomorrow, 7 p.m.
I don't know why they think it's sweet. They better ask Pistol Pete. This is the War Department, no more lord-ass sergeants. Cut them beards off, pass the man in dead press. Cut them ears off, his mouth running like a horse, trying to cut them ears off. And I was reading the X-Files, they spoke on Peter the Reptile, the Antichrist and leaders in exiles. Autonomous killer machines and projectiles, rainbows on his textiles. Yes, child, techno-fascist, we call them meta Yahoo. In a digital world with an island of girls like Erica Badu. In New Orleans with the crocodiles in the bayou. Street fighters like Ken Balsam and Ryu. Techno-fascist, we call them meta Yahoo. In a digital world with an island of girls like Erica Badu. In New Orleans with the crocodiles in the bayou. Street fighters like Ken Balsam and Ryu. Techno-fascist, we call them meta Yahoo. In a digital world with an island of girls like Erica Badu. In New Orleans with the crocodiles in the bayou. Street fighters like Ken Balsam and Ryu.
Stephen Miller right there. Stephen Miller is running the White House. He is him and Voight. Voight is the person who helped write Project 2025. They are running the show right now. Stephen Miller is the one who's droning all of those people in Venezuela. Stephen Miller got up at Charlie Kirk's memorial or a WWE wrestling ceremony and went full Nazi. He went full Nazi. If you go on Google, if you pull up Stephen Miller's speech, and then on YouTube, there's a whole bunch of white supremacists, right? Well, there's a European girl who says she was a former supremacist, and she's basically breaking the whole speech down, breaking down all of the coded language. Pete Hegseth, the Department of War, straight warmonger. He has crusader tattoos, white supremacy tattoos all over his body. He's running the War Department. He's running all of the generals. You got generals that are basically retiring and handing in their quote unquote 4 stripes. You got a black general who just basically stepped down and whatnot, because after they summoned all of those generals to the Virginia the other day, 800 generals, and they basically told them, yo, y'all got to kiss the ring. Y'all gotta bend the knee and kiss the ring and make a declaration towards white power, basically. And they was like, you should have seen their faces. So one or two things will take place. They setting the stage for a coup d'état from the military, saying we got to remove these people because it's you know what I mean. Like you should have seen their face. They had the coup look on their face, or they're gonna give rise to what they know as the joint, because they don't need the National Guard, they don't need the Army, they don't need nobody from the Army to do anything behind the borders of America. They got ICE with the biggest budget ever, like hundreds of billions of dollars. They got Border Patrol, these and the Department of Homeland Security. These are all small hat run agencies. They are considered right now rogue agencies, right? These agencies work with the small hats hand in hand. These are rogue agencies. You know what I'm talking about? Border Patrol work with the cartels. ICE is basically the Duck Dynasty niggas cut their beards and cut their beards off and became ICE. You don't even have to have a diploma. You know what I mean? Like these are all of the bottom feeders in the trailer park trash and whatnot. They become ICE, and then the Department of Homeland Security. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, these are the militias. They just deputized the militias and gave them these fake ass badges and whatnot, and these little patches to wear. But these are that's the militia right there. So they don't necessarily need the army. And the generals are gonna step down. Certain people, you're gonna have people in the army defect and go right into ICE. They're gonna be like, I don't want to do the army shit. I'm gonna go to ICE. I'm gonna go and do the ICE shit. I'm gonna go ahead and do the white supremacists. I'm gonna feed the gods of of Andrew Jackson and all of them. The Pope blessed a piece of ice last week. Yeah, this new Pope is something else, bro. He's already off to a crazy start. And Antichrist and AI and all of that all ties into the Pope as well. They are pushing that shit, you know what I'm saying? Acting like they're pushing against it. But they didn't have one word to say when AI was turned into Skynet over in Gaza. Not the living Pope or the one that died. They was doing wild fake outrage, like, oh my goodness, we gotta stop this. Fam, you're not mad enough. You didn't even say what needed to be said. Yeah, they have a hiring commercial. ICE has a commercial, and they're giving out wow. I think the signing bonus is like 50 bands and whatnot. Blue Pill said that they played an ICE commercial in the gym where he's at, where it's nothing but Neanderthals. So that's where this quote unquote force, this standing army and this militia that's gonna help the robots and help because really, to be honest with you, Palantir is going to take over the ranks of everything. They're going to be the premier law enforcement agency because they're dealing with precog technology, prediction technology. They're gonna lock niggas up before they even do a crime and say that it was your face that gave it away. Facial recognition. Man, let's just link up tomorrow. I got a lot to talk about, man. Yeah, go and get B Dell's book. It just dropped. You know what I'm talking about? Let's link up tomorrow. Let's chop it up. You know what I mean? Let me drop that because it's things that I want to talk about, but I don't want to compromise the God's channel. You feel me? So whenever I find myself putting a muzzle on myself, or whenever I find myself being inauthentic and what I want to say, I gotta, you know what I mean? It's like I'm in a, it's that time. You know what I'm saying? It's that time.
Well, all right, Red. Yo, brother, thank you for coming on Baba TV on your channel. Thank you for coming back. This is your house always. Blue Pill, you too. And shout out to Brother Rich. Shout out to my brother Rich.
Yes, Radiohead. Shout out to
Radiohead. Man. Shout out to the whole family. Shout out to Harlem. You heard that new Big Daddy Kane, Red?
Nah, I gotta play that. I was listening to Mobb Deep. I was on my Mobb Deep-ish.
Yeah, him and RZA got a fire. Just came out yesterday, the single.
I gotta go check that out. Can I play one more?
Sure.
Commercial. I got something coming up with Brother Rich. I almost forgot about it. We gotta plug that. That is major because what we'll be teaching, me and Savon Bomar, We're not teaching slavery AI. We're not teaching AI slop. We're not teaching how to be a AI, a AI groupie and whatnot. We're going to be teaching you how you're going to use fire to keep yourself warm rather than using fire to burn and pillage and to create scorched earth. It's a difference. Guns don't kill people. People kill people. So a person with a gun could either protect his family or he could go on a mass shooting spree. It all has to do with that person. So we're not going to blame the technology. We're not going to blame these tools and whatnot. You know, a tool that helps you make a video or create make an image out of your high school pictures and whatnot. You know, I won't go out on a limb and say that that's going to hurt you. I'm not going to put no damn fear in nobody's heart to say that this is the evil thing and everything. No, these people are evil. These, you know, I don't listen to demon music. I'm not into summoning demons and whatnot. I'm not a demon. You feel me? Like, that's not my thing. So you got to look at the people where that's their thing. So they're going to do what their thing is. You know what I mean? That's their thing. No, my thing is I'm tapping in with the technology the same way that some of our ancestors had the technology. If a spaceship pull up, nigga, what you think they flying it with? All of them megalithic structures, what did they build that with? You know what I'm talking about? Where's all of this thing? Where did that come from? That's technology, hecka, right? So here's the commercial, and then we out of here.
363 Empire presents AI Masters, Gods of Intelligence. 2 powerhouses, 7 Bomar and Red Pillar, coming together for an explosive 2-day lecture. Mark the dates, November 1st and 2nd. This is happening live, only on Zoom. Spots are limited. Get your tickets right now on Eventbrite. Don't wait. Don't think twice. 363 Empire presents AI Masters, Gods of Intelligence. Click the QR code on your screen and lock in your seat. We'll see you in the building on the other side. .363 Empire presents AI Masters, Gods of Intelligence.
Yes, indeed.
.363 Empire presents AI Masters, Gods of Intelligence. 2 powerhouses, 7 Bomar and Red Pillar, coming together for an explosive 2-day lecture. Mark the dates, November 1st and 2nd. This is happening live, only on Zoom. Spots are limited. Get your tickets right now on Eventbrite. Don't wait. Don't think twice. 363 Empire presents AI Masters, Gods of Intelligence. Click the QR code on your screen and lock in your seat. We'll see you in the building on the other side. .363 Empire presents AI Masters, Gods of Intelligence.
Oh shit! Bezo, what's good?
What's up, Mr. Baba? Yo, check this out, Conscious World. This is the brother Baba TV. Yo, y'all need that conscious information, man? Check them out, Baba TV.
I give a shout out to Baba TV. When I'm home relaxing, I always watch Baba TV. Whenever you get a chance, check it out. Baba TV, #1. Peace out. Of course, we're for Baba TV always, brother. Always. Peace. Today, tomorrow, forever. Give a shout out to Baba TV. One love right here, Big Will in the house on 25th Street. Peace.
We on live with Baba TV, family.
Facts.
Yes, yes.
You know what I'm saying?